In today's video, we're going to be discussing routines and how to create your individual routine. Now, when it comes to your morning and your wind down routine, all these things are very individual. So in this module, we will be discussing variables and how you can piece them together yourself to create something that's optimal for you. Developing a daily routine can help us feel more in control of everything and help us to make room for what's important. So routines can aid our mental health. It can help us cope with change, to form healthy habits, and to reduce our stress levels. Now, what we're going to cover is why you need a routine in order to be optimized like the great, how to create a winning morning routine, the key to having the best start to your day every day, and cultivating a wind down routine that leaves you relaxed and prepped for sleep, and what to do if your workload is too much for a proper routine on your super busy work days. A lot of times we see clients, they come in, they want to have a 5 to 10 step morning routine because it's very relaxing, it's peaceful, it sets them up for the day. Except on those days where they're super busy and they can't check off all the boxes. Now, this kind of throws a wrench in the rest of your day because you can't complete your morning routine, and it kind of throws off your entire day. And so there's a couple ways to navigate around that, which we will cover later. So, routines that are timeless. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day, while failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Are you thinking short-term or long-term in your business? Now, this is a super important question, and most of you say, well, I'm pretty sure I'm thinking long-term. However, if you don't have routines, you're not actually thinking long-term. Now, this is why. Implementing morning routines and wind-down routines are imperative for maxing output, getting deep sleep, and mastering your day. If you skip these routines because work has consumed you, you have failed to think long-term. So read that again. It's super important, and it highlights a great point. Because you're always going to have, so many things to do on your to-do list. It's going to be seemingly endless. But the truth is that if it's important enough, you will do the task right away. And if it doesn't need to be done that day, don't stress about it. If it needs to get done that day, but you can't do it because your schedule is so packed, instead of sacrificing your health, you need to simply outsource that task. So a lot of the times we see you guys busting your ass 10 to 12-hour days because you have so much going on. But what you don't realize is that that's actually sacrificing your health and putting you in a poor position to actually take care of your sleep, take care of your nutrition. And the long-term effects of that almost gets underestimated because you're so focused on getting that task done. Now, if you focus on the long term, what you actually would do is no matter what you have during that day, is you're still going to prioritize your health. And instead of busting your ass doing it yourself, becoming the slave to your business, what you should be doing is outsourcing that task. So it leaves you time to take care of your health and the task still gets done. Because all in all, when it comes to your business and outsourcing, I know there's a lot of resistance when it comes to that because you guys want full control. You don't like letting go of the reins of your business, or going through the process of training new hires seems pretty tedious. But you guys need to realize in order to reach that next level or grow in your business, you're going to have to outsource anyways. So you might as well do it in chapter 2 rather than chapter 20 when your mess is even bigger. And by that time, your health is even more run down. So sooner the better when you make health a priority and actually outsource the tasks that don't need to be done by you. Now, time to get into what your perfect morning routine is. There are many things that stand in the way of our goals, but some hurdles are not as big as others. An easy one to overcome is aimlessness, so it can often be conquered by merely writing down your intentions and how you plan to accomplish them. A 2008 study performed at the Dominican University in California showed that those who took the time to simply write out their goals were significantly more likely to accomplish them than those who didn't. So when it comes to your morning routine and actually adhering to your new routine that you might not have been doing prior, there's a lot of resistance. Your brain wants to go back to what's normal, back to your regular routine. And one tactic around that is to write down your routines and write it over and over and over again, because the more your subconscious, the more your brain is familiar with those routines, the more you'll adhere to them. So the same concept can be easily applied to an approach to creating new and positive habits. So just like I said, when it comes to creating new habits, an easy way to do that is to write them down over and over again and to drill them into your subconscious. So by taking a few minutes to write down what your morning routine would look like, you're increasing your chances of successfully performing them on a more regular basis. Now, this is just an example of what a routine should look like. This is very individual, so all of these colored squares will be very different depending on what you actually like doing in the morning. We'll actually go over how to pick these and which ones are more suitable and what are the variables that are contributing to having the best morning routine. When it comes to cultivating your perfect morning routine, there is a 4-step recipe. Now, this is very individual, like I said previously, because some of you guys might be a lion chronotype or a wolf chronotype, depending on what time you like going to bed or waking up. And so that will be very individual, but everyone should be implementing at least one step for each pillar. So mind, isolation, body, and enjoyment. So a little bit more detail on what those exactly mean is the MIBE recipe. So pick one thing that stimulates your mind, whether that's reading, journaling, think-a-tating, listening to a podcast, affirmations, and then isolation. So protect your thoughts and subconscious. Right when you wake up, your subconscious is ready to go. Your hippocampus, your neocortex, all of these regions of your brain are fresh from sleeping. They have wiped the memory slates, I guess you could say, and they are ready to take in new information and new content. So the first thing you look at in the morning is crucial because of this. And so I always recommend people to find isolation and really have self-reflection without being tainted by any environmental variables. So no social media first hour upon awakening, no news or mainstream media, do not check emails, and do not check sales. And then picking one thing for the body aspect. So do something that exercises your body, whether that's stretching, it could be red light therapy, going for a run, exercising, walking your dog, hip opener flow, which will be later in this week, box breathing, mini trampoline, sauna, jump rope. There's so many different options. So picking one of those is perfect. And then enjoyment. So doing something that brings you joy. This can be very individual. It could be enjoying a cup of coffee. It could be spending time with loved ones, watching a video, working on a passion project, things that just bring you enjoyment and that can set you up for a positive aspect for the rest of the day. Now that we've had your morning routine kind of covered, we can look at your perfect wind down routine. Your wind down routine is just as important as your morning routine. It has become increasingly important over the decades to adopt a time period where you do not use technology or gadgets and truly disconnect. This allows you to reflect on the day and prep for sleep. When was the last time you went a couple hours without looking at any glass screens? So AKA your computer, your phone. It's probably been a while unless you were in the wilderness camping, but even then it's so normal to bring your phones, obviously. And so you are constantly looking at screens. Now, the one time I recommend you to not do that is in the evening time, a couple hours before bed. So on average, when our clients listened to us and they implemented our strategies and protocols at peak performance, this was their daily average output. So they fall asleep 12 minutes sooner. They spend less overall time in bed. And so what that means is total sleep duration is very different than time in bed. What you want that gap in between those to be as little as possible. And a lot of the times when you're in bed for 9-10 hours, but your sleep is restless, but you're only getting around 8 hours of sleep, that is very inefficient and it's just wasting your time, frankly. And so getting optimized sleep is the ideal, like what we want. And they have 33% less wake ups throughout the night. They have 24% increase in overall sleep quality, and they have significantly increased REM and deep levels. Now, in the beginning of peak performance, Billy and I had these custom made spreadsheets where they had all of our metrics, all of our aura metrics, and based on those metrics, I was able to look at the average metrics couple months in the very beginning when we first started working to later down the road when they've mastered our protocols and strategies. And these were the differences that I found on average between all of our clients. Now, the recipe for your perfect wind down routine is called LARE, so LARE. This includes light manipulation, avoiding work, relaxing, and optimizing your environment. So in order to cultivate your perfect wind down routine, you need to address these variables: light, work, relaxing, and optimizing your environment. Here's an example of what LARE actually looks like. When it comes to your wind down routine, it actually starts the morning of. Now, the reason being is because if you wake up and let's say you go straight into your kitchen, you're making breakfast, and then you go straight into your office, and then you start working right away, you're not getting any natural sunlight. All your body is getting is artificial blue light from your screens. If you check your phone first thing in the morning, and then you go straight to your laptop, that is all emitting very bright blue light, artificial light, and your body is thinking it's high noon right off the bat. And so if your body thinks it's high noon right off the bat, and then also throughout the entire day because you're working on your laptop for 6, 7, 8 hours per day, Your body has no idea what time it is, and it's just kind of guessing. And what you want to do to counteract that is right when you wake up, get outside, do a run or walk your dog, and get real sunlight, because real sunlight is way different than artificial blue light. And when you get that sunlight first thing in the morning, it's telling your body it's morning time, it's time to release cortisol, and then following that, your body will know when to release hormones based off your circadian rhythm, such as cortisol and melatonin. Now, releasing that cortisol first thing in the morning is setting your body up to releasing melatonin in the evening. If we're looking at LAIR, which is light manipulation, avoiding work, relaxing, and environment, this is what it should look like. So light manipulation is getting sunlight, like what I just said, and then limiting light exposure during the evening time. So during this time, you should have minimal light exposure and or wearing blue light blocking glasses. Avoid turning on any bright ceiling lights and avoid screens. If watching YouTube, glasses are recommended. That is LAIR. Avoiding work means at 7 p.m. you have shut down, so no more work. And then relaxing is, relaxing with loved ones or watching YouTube or reading your favorite book, something that is personally relaxing for you. And then environment is everything together, such as your bedroom, your ceiling lights, what you're drinking or eating, who you're spending your time with, all of that stuff. So everything working coherently together will give you the optimal wind down routine. What to do when you are too busy. So we call this the 15-minute crisis routine. Many entrepreneurs have unexpected busy days where they cannot carry out their normal 2 to 3 hour morning routine. When this happens, they miss rituals and feel unmotivated the rest of the day. They miss one item and it starts a negative feedback loop of missing other items, such as eating healthy or exercising, because they aren't on it. So when it comes to this, there are 2 rules. Number 1 is pick one thing for mind. So one activity that helps you kickstart your mind. This could be 5 minutes of meditation, a quick podcast, or journaling before your first work block. And then number 2 is picking something for body. So pick one activity that gets your blood moving. We recommend a quick stretch flow on your floor, or a 5 minutes of jump rope, or a quick jog around your neighborhood. The reason why this works so beautifully is because it sets you up for success in the sense where you're not depending on doing 5 to 10 steps. It's very simple. It's one thing for your mind, one thing for your body. So each aspect gets covered. The 2 most important ones, which is mind and body. An example of this is, 7 a.m. wake up, 7:10 restroom, 7:15 morning stretch flow, 7:20 journal, and then you start your first work block. This is a great example of a crisis routine. And it's very efficient, so it gets the job done. It's not recommended for long term though, only on days that are necessary. The reason why it's not recommended on long days is because you normalize having very busy days and you're still not prioritizing your health as much as you should be. Yes, this is better than nothing. This is definitely better than nothing. However, it's still not optimal in the sense of actually nourishing your body, nourishing your mind, your mindset, setting up for success with visualization of your goals and getting the exercise you need. In the description box below, we will drop an Excel spreadsheet. It's a plug and play Google Drive folder where you can go in, it has timestamps, and you can actually plan out your entire day using these methods. So I'll see you guys in the next video.